Hello and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. Almost couldn't say that this morning. Anywho, we are on a new book by Maxwell, which is Thinking for Change. So before we jump into chapter 1, we're going to go ahead and invite some people onto here. Hope you're having a great day today. I'm surprised with how cool it's been the past couple of days. It's like we leave Florida to come back to like 55 degrees and I'm like, what the heck just happened? I'm like, why the heck is it so cold? Maybe we need to go back. Although honestly, this weather is pretty perfect. Like, it's not too hot, not too cold, so I can actually stand to be outside.
And where did it go? My notes.
There we go. Ooh. All right. So, Thinking for a Change, Chapter 1, Understanding the Value of Good Thinking. So, nurture great thoughts for you will never go higher than your thoughts. And that was by Benjamin Disraeli?
Disraeli.
Yep, okay. Making sure I pronounced that right. And your life today is a result of your thinking yesterday, and your life tomorrow will be determined by what you think today. So, a major premise, I can control my thoughts. Minor premise, my feelings come from my thoughts. And conclusion, I control my feelings by controlling my thoughts. If you are willing to change your thinking, you could change your feelings, and if you change your feelings, you can change your actions, and by changing your actions based on good thinking, you can change your life. We talk about this a lot in business, of making sure your thinking is where it needs to be, because if you constantly think about all these negative things, it's going to come out in your speech, in your actions, and in your relationships. And people really don't want to be around that. So, who will change your mind? So Mark Twain said, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. And the problem with most educational is, I don't know what the heck I typed there. But anywho, the problem with most educational systems like public school is that they try to teach you what to think, not exactly how to think. So Francis Bacon said, knowledge alone is not power. Knowledge has value only in the hands of someone who has the ability to think well. And people must learn how to think well to achieve their dreams and reach their potential. And that's common, where people are taught knowledge to become an employee and not be able to sustain themselves. People who are not fully educated are easier to control. And you'll find a lot of business owners tend to have a mind of their own. They go look up the information, they know the questions to ask, so that way they can better figure out the situation and what they need to do. So, why you should embrace the value of good thinking. So, Georgia State University professor David Schwartz, Jesus, a lot of names I can't pronounce today. Where success is concerned, people are not measured in inches or pounds or college degrees or family background. They are measured by the size of their thinking. Now, reasons why good thinking is important. Number one, Good thinking creates the foundation for good results. So in As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, he wrote, good thoughts and actions can never produce bad results. Bad thoughts and actions can never produce good results. So poor thinking produces negative progress. Average thinking produces no progress. And good thinking produces some progress, and great thinking produces great progress. So one of the reasons people don't achieve their dreams is because they desire the change, but their results, because they desire to change their results without changing their thinking. So you're not gonna get anywhere until you change the way you think. It's almost kind of like changing a language almost, because if you've grown up around a negative environment, you're not gonna know right away how to have these conversations in your head of positive thinking. And that's where you have to really decide, who are the people that I need to be around. We've talked about this before. The 5 people you're around most are going to influence you the most, and are going to be the people that you're going to mimic. So you need to pay attention to who's around you, what are you watching, what are you reading, so that way you can better control all these things going on in your head. Number 2, good thinking increases your potential. So the greatest deterrent to many people's success tomorrow is, there we go, tomorrow is their thinking today. So their thinking is limited, and their thinking is limited, so is their potential. So, but if people can keep growing in their thinking, they will consistently outgrow what they're doing, and their potential will always be off the charts. My goodness, can't talk today. Ugh, can't read today is the issue. So good thinking increases your potential. John talks about the law of the lid in one of his other books. Your thinking is also your lid. You can raise that lid, but it takes practice and time and making sure that you're getting all the information and learning new things and really expanding that potential. Number 3, good thinking produces more good thinking if you make it a habit. So Albert Einstein observed, the problems we face today can't be solved on the same level of thinking that we were when we created them. Success comes from those who habitually do the things that unsuccessful people don't do. Achievement comes from the habit of good thinking, and the more you engage in good thinking, the more good thoughts that are going to continue. So unsuccessful people focus their thinking on survival. They just focus on the basics of food, water, shelter, and they tend to blame their misfortune on other people. Like you'll notice that people who are unsuccessful always like to blame the rich or the successful. They're like, they have something I don't. And the reality is, most people who have had success did not grow up in that environment. It's a lot of people who grew up where you wouldn't expect that person to really go anywhere, but they figured out a way. They made the decision of, I'm going to get out of this situation and I'm going to go further. Average people focus on thinking of maintenance. So they have all the basics down, but they just want to be comfortable. They don't want to do anything extra. But the successful people focus their thinking on progress. What can I do better tomorrow? Or today, where I can be further along tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. Anywho, a change of thinking can help you move from survival or maintenance to real progress. So 90% of achieving anything is knowing what you want and paying the price to get it. And the portrait of a good thinker. So what exactly is a good thinker? You need all the pieces, but to become the kind of person who could achieve great things, you need the pieces including these 11 skills. So number 1, seeing the wisdom of big picture thinking, unleashing potential of focused thinking, discovering the joy of creative thinking, recognizing the importance of realistic thinking, releasing the power of strategic thinking, feeling the energy of positive thinking, embracing the lessons in reflecting thinking, questions the acceptance of popular thinking, questioning the acceptance of popular thinking, encouraging the participation of shared thinking, experience the satisfaction of unselfish thinking, and enjoy the return of the bottom line thinking. So John is actually going to go through each one of these in more detail and how exactly you're going to accomplish it in this book. But that's just a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be going over in later chapters. So asking questions, that's basically what I got out of the first chapter. It is a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be going into and why it's so important. If you have negative thoughts, it's going to come out in your actions and in your relationships. And when you're building a network marketing business, that is either going to make or break you. Because if you think about the people that you like to spend time with, you like to spend time with positive, energetic people. If your thoughts are flooded with negative thinking, you're not going to have energy, you're not going to be able to attract the people, and you're not going to be able to move forward and be able to do the things that are necessary to make it in this business. Because all the people that you see who are succeeding, they're high energy, they're always positive, they're great to hang around with, people love to be around them, and they move at a much faster pace. It is very hard to do that when you have a negative mindset. So with that, that's what I got from this chapter. Jeff, did you want to go over the thinking questions? Or what was your takeaway from this chapter?
Yeah, my thing is this show is dedicated to the MLM school that we have online, where we teach very specific techniques to be able to build your own business. And although we don't mention companies and we don't mention specific products, we teach what it takes to actually build the business. There is a different thinking that needs to take place. And the biggest one is you have to go from an employee to an entrepreneur. And most people do not know how to do that. So you have to go from, thinking like a job to thinking like a business to thinking like a leader. In most quote unquote businesses, most people say, well, I have a business. Well, no, you're self-employed. And the definition, and I got this a long time ago, the definition between being self-employed and owning a business is if you own a business, you can leave for an indefinite period of time, months, weeks, and come back and there's still money. If you're self-employed and you leave for a few weeks or a few months and you come back and you're shut down and the doors are locked, you're self-employed. If you're the only one there and you have to show up every day for the money to come in, you're self-employed. And most people don't realize that that's really where you start inside of direct sales and network marketing. And that's one of the hardest places to start. You are self-employed. The difference is you're independent, financially, but you're not independent information-wise. So let me give you what I'm talking about. When I decided to open, 317 Holistic Health, I couldn't go to my competitor, Massage Envy, and be like, hey guys, how did you set up such a large franchise? What do your books look like? What does your marketing look like? Nobody's going to give you any answers. You have to go figure it out yourself. And that's what it means to be self-employed and an entrepreneur. I find it interesting that so many people are like, I want to be self-employed, I want to be self-employed. And then the first words out of their mouth is, tell me exactly what to do. They don't know how to think for themselves. They don't know how to problem solve. When they run into a wall and somebody says no, then they're like, well, that's it. It doesn't work. That's about as far as most people get. The average person will talk to 3 people. 3. The average person in this industry will talk to 3 people and quit. That's just the numbers. But it's not unlike the gym where people will go 3 times and they're like, well, I don't look like a fitness model. I don't look like the cover of a magazine. I've worked out 3 times. I haven't lost 40 pounds. I don't have giant biceps or, I haven't lost the gut. And they quit. The same thing is true in most sports. I can't remember what the statistic is for the number of pianos bought that cost over $10,000 that sit and are never played. Just ask somebody who deals in pianos and they'll tell you it's like 99%. So if people are going to do it in music and spend thousands of dollars, and people, buy all kinds of sports equipment, the average boat, I think, gets used 3 or 4 times a year. I mean, it's really low, like the hours spent. We had a gentleman that I knew inside of direct sales and network marketing. He was actually on Lake Michigan, had a 150-foot yacht. That's a pretty good sized boat. He had logged so many hours, the Coast Guard pulled him over and sat on his boat for hours looking through all the stuff. And they're like, what's the deal? And they're like, well, the only people who can log this many hours on a boat are drug dealers. What do you do? And he mentioned the name of his company and everybody jumped off the boat. Not literally jumped off the boat, but they all got it. They're like, okay. Now we know what you're doing. He happened to live in Michigan, and his company was in Michigan too. It's pretty funny. So, Michael, what's going on? Where are you at these days? I saw the truck. I'm sure you're out traveling. How's that going, by the way? Hopefully, as what we saw driving, trucking industry is doing well. People still need stuff. We're just not shipping it in from overseas at the moment. So that thinking. So here's what I got out of it. And this is something I learned a while back when it comes to business, is most people feel first, act second, think last. For instance, I come home, I'm tired, I know I should do paperwork, or I know I should make phone calls, or I know I should contact people, I know I should follow up, but I'm tired. So instead of doing what I'm supposed to do, I turn on the TV. Then the next day or that evening, you look over and it's 11 o'clock at night and you're like, oh, I shoulda called, I shoulda contacted, I shoulda presented, and pretty soon you're shoulda all over yourself. And that's what most people do. Most people do that in all businesses. I've watched it in the real estate business. I've watched it in the mortgage business. I've watched it in the insurance business. I've watched it in financial services. It's difficult to discipline yourself to do what you're supposed to do, especially when the first 18 years of programming teach you not to. They teach you not to. They teach you to show up to work and then you're supposed to relax. School preconditions you to do that. It was built that way. The people who built the school system were the ones who ran the companies. They're the ones who designed it. And they designed it so you wouldn't think for yourself. They designed it so there was no competition. By the way, the super wealthy do not send their kids to the same schools you went to or you're sending your kids to. That's why there's all those super elite preparatory schools, and I don't mean anything weird by it. I'm talking about there are legitimate preparatory schools where basically our school system is teaching kids to work for a company and their school system is teaching them how to own the company and hire your kids. And if you think that's not true, just look up some of the elite, just look up the most elite school in your state or in the country. Where are the most elite, high-end places? Where do the celebrities, and some celebrities don't send their kids to, these schools, but you'll find the super business people. And what I mean by the super business people is a lot of people would think making $1 million, that's what you would do. Well, I'm not talking about the people who make $1 million. I'm talking about the people who make several $1 million a month. Those are the type of people that send their kids to different schools, and it's a different way of thinking. So inside of network marketing, the first thing you have to do is learn A, how to be self-employed, B, how to own a business, and then C, how to lead. And that's really what I started taking out of this book right off the bat, and can't wait to get to chapter 2, but that's what I got for today. That is a wrap. What else?
So if you'd like to follow this show, we have a group page for the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. You could go join that group. Also go follow us on YouTube. We're going to download each one of these videos to there, so that way if you'd like to listen to this again, you are more than welcome to.
I'm
so
copying
with that,
my notes right now over there.
Yep, and Jeff will be posting these notes onto the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show group on Facebook, so you guys can have those. It's good to read the book too, but we just take a little bit of cliff notes so that way you can see it. And yeah, I think that's it. So with that, we will see you guys tomorrow, and have a wonderful day.